Welcome to Millennium News 24/7 daily local news update, and here is our story 5. The Hennepin County Medical Examiners has identified one of the two fatalities in a police pursuit that ended in a crash in the northeast Minneapolis last week. The crash happened at the corner of Northeast Lowry Ave and High Street in the northeast Minneapolis early December 9th. Police said it began with an armed carjacking that evening before. Robbinsdale officer pursued the suspect's stolen Mercedes SUV into Minneapolis after it spotted the vehicle after 2 a.m. and tried to pull it over. Kaczmarek said. Then the car fled with 5 occupants, all teenagers, inside, and it crashed. Police said one died on the scene and another at the hospital. 3 others survived with non-life-threatening injuries. The impact split the SUV in half and damaged street signs and a mailbox. On Thursday, the medical examiner said one of the victims in the crash was a 16-year-old Shondale Devin Heckman of Minneapolis. The cause of death was listed as multiple blunt force injuries. The deadly crash comes as carjackings in Minneapolis are on the rise, outpacing the last 2 years. And now for our story 6. Shortly before 6 a.m. Thursday, the fire department was called out for what was initially believed to be a brush fire on private property on the 5200 block of North Marshall Street. First responders soon realized that there was a body on fire. While Philadelphia firefighters arrived to put the fire out, they quickly discovered that the fire was actually of a person, said Police Inspector D.F. Pace. A K-9 trained to detect accelerants, the crime scene unit and homicide detectives scoured a back alleyway between a home and school. Neighbors say people often use the path as a cut through between the streets, a playground, and a baseball field. Police say it was difficult to determine the victim's age, but she could have been anywhere between 20 and 40 years old. Police say further investigations found she had severe blunt force trauma to her head. There was a trail of blood near the crime scene. We believe this is a criminal act that happened just this morning, said Inspector Pace. The incident happened right next to Thurgood Marshall Elementary School, though not on the school grounds. There were no windows in the school near the crime scene, and children were kept inside while police investigations were underway. Neighbors say should have no child should not have to pass or go to school that do have to come out. They should have to seen it all. This is not good for them, said one neighbor. There is some surveillance cameras in the area and police were working to retrieve the footage. Now for story 7. Tangela Smith is charged with 1 count of injury to a child causing serious bodily injuries to baby Cassidy. Smith currently lives in Louisiana. Irving police said her other children, ages 2, 3, and 6, were placed with relatives there. She also faces 3 additional charges of endangering a child for her other kids, police said. None of them were secured in seatbelts or child safety seats either. Irving police said Smith was turning from North MacArthur Boulevard onto westbound Ranchview Drive when somehow the back right passenger side door opened and Cassidy fell out of the car into the roadway. The baby was then fatally struck by another car, according to witnesses. We just know that the very tragic incident occurred where somehow, because of something that happened inside the vehicle, an 8-month-old was able to fall out of the car. Officer Robert Rees with Irving Police Department said that in of itself isn't the main thing, that is just heartbreaking. Reeves said Cassidy's death a tragic reminder for anyone who has kids that they have to be properly restrained inside a car. Whether the child wanted to or not shouldn't be the reason whether or not a child is secure in the car, he said. Whoever is operating that vehicle, it is their responsibility to make sure all children are in the age appropriate seats they are required to be in. Police said they have contacted Smith and told her the warrants are active. She has two options: turn herself in or have law enforcement officials extradite her back to Texas. Now, for story 8. Widely popular food bonanza, s'mores boards, is bringing its once a week open air food market to Miami beginning March 2022, taking over a space in Wynwood neighborhood. This will mark its third permanent location in the U.S. after New York City and Los Angeles. Brought to the Magic City by former smorgasbord vendor Gaston Becherano. The name is a play on Swedish smorgasbord, meaning a wide array of food, and the location of the market's debut locations in Williamsburg. Smorgasburg originally debuted in 2011 and became an instant hit, serving as the birthplace of many viral dishes like ramen burgers, raindrop cake, and spaghetti donuts. The market's Williamsburg success led to Los Angeles' expansion in 2016, along with the satellite location in Jersey City and Lower Manhattan, and annual pop-ups in Sao Paulo and Japan. Schmorsburg, Miami will be open on Saturdays in a 50,000 square foot park-like setting that will ultimately host 60 food vendors and 10 retail vendors. Vendors will be positioned around the perimeter of the space with central seating comprised of different color picnic tables for both dining and bar areas. For Miami location, the majority of the vendors will be located with some confirmed names, including Ted's Burgers, Drinking Pig Barbecue, The Sister Yard, The Maisie Project, and more. For those who are interested in becoming a vendor, can apply here. And I must add a personal note. I am from Jersey City, and I love when we have the smorgasbord. It is the best time whenever we can go. And the food is absolutely delicious. So I highly recommend that you get this wonderful experience. And now, a short break from the Daily English News of Millennium News 24/7. Stay tuned.